Hello there, this is Yanis from the Arcweave team, and this is a tutorial on Arcweave's Design Assistant, a powerful feature that uses generative AI to answer questions about our project and Arcweave's functionality. The Design Assistant understands the context of our project as well as Arcweave's knowledge base, so we can ask questions that draw on both of these sources. Why need an assistant? Well, we could be a new team member diving into a large and long-running project, and the assistant can quickly provide us with a brief synopsis of the story's plot and characters, and then allow us to further focus on specific sections we'd like to untangle. We might also need to do some debugging and find issues in our elements, boards, components, and variables. Or we might feel a little stuck while working on a scene. The assistant can suggest ideas for dialogue or plot twists based on the current storyline. Finally, we might simply need a quick refresher on how to use certain features of Arcweave. So let's see the Design Assistant in action. To open the Design Assistant, we need to click this button at the top right of the screen, which looks a bit like a star or a flash. And then we get to type our questions and prompts down here. So let's try out a few examples. Let's first assume this is a project we created some time ago and there are many sections we don't still remember. We're going to ask the Design Assistant to help us refresh our memory. So for example, give me a short summary of this story. And we get a short summary indeed. This interactive story follows the player, blah, 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 blah. Your choices impact the progression. And for more details, visit the documentation. So we also get a link to the Arcweave docs. Another example is to ask the assistant, which are the project's side quests? And this will give us a list of all the side quests you can take in this project. Or give me a list of all the moments the player gets in trouble. Again, we get a list, and well, we can see that now we also have links to the referenced elements. So here, medium warrior, warrior, anyway, the names of the elements here, caught. And well, this one doesn't have a link, but as we said, sometimes the AI can make mistakes. We can also ask questions about Arcweave's functionality. For example, what is a jumper? And yes, we get the result. A jumper is used to create nonlinear story flows by connecting an element from one board to another. And we also get the link to the documentation. Another useful aspect of the assistant is to get help spotting typos and errors of syntax or grammar. So let's ask, are there any typos in the project? Yes, there are typos in the project. One example is blah, 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 where spectacular should be spectacular. Spectacular. Oh, there you go. Spectacular. And the other one is dividing. Okay. And dividing. Great. Thank you. We can also ask questions about content and structure. Are there any animals in this story? Yes, animals. We got a gigantic scorpion, Mention of a monkey. Okay. Or how many times I used the orc guard component. How many times I've used the component, like how many times I've used the orc guard component in my elements. So it's only referenced once in this element here. Yep, indeed. Finally, we can also ask for game design suggestions. For example, how can I make the game more difficult? Give me some suggestions. To make the game more challenging, consider the following options: resource management, branch complexity, combat difficulty, puzzles. Right, okay. Or let's try so in the carry grain scene, I need some ideas on dangerous outcomes. Back to this scene, here are some dangerous outcomes to enhance tension. So encounters with gnome bandits, overexertion causing a temporary strength reduction, grain bags could break, and a rival merchant accuses the player of tampering, threatening consequences. Okay, fine, perfect. Just a little disclaimer, as any other AI tool, the design assistant can make mistakes, so be sure to double check the result whenever possible using your knowledge of the project and common sense. One last thing about the design assistant, for context reasons, it remembers the most recent prompts we've typed. So if we want to get rid of any previous context, we can press this eraser button up here and this will reset the assistant's history. That's all for this episode on Arcweave's Design Assistant, and this also concludes our tutorial videos on Arcweave's generative AI features, which can inspire and assist you in your writing and prototyping. If you're finding these tutorials helpful, subscribe to Arcweave's official YouTube channel. You can find us hanging out with our users on the Arcweave Discord server and our social media. Check the links in this video's description. I'm Yanis from Arcweave, and let the games begin.